Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, a.k.a. PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast. It's the podcast where we have digital discussions in the worlds of pop culture, social media, sports, reality TV, everything really. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On Twitter, I go as PD Beats. We've had a lot of guests from season 19 of Big Brother. We've had, the winner, Josh Martinez. We've had Mark and Elena. We've had Ramsey Soto. And my guest was also a contestant on season 19 of Big Brother. We are with Kevin Schlehuber. Kevin, welcome to Popternative.
Nice to be here. I'm having a good time. Thank you so much. It's nice to talk to someone from Ottawa, the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And I just want to know because people know you as you were in that house that season. You were the older guy in the house. You know what I mean? And
I was older by years.
Years.
I mean, there was like 5 of them 21 years old, so I was 35 years older than them.
So what do you think? I want to know, when you first got in the house, what were you thinking, and what were you thinking other people were thinking? Like, did you think it was just the typical, oh, this is an old guy, we can get rid of him right away? Because that wasn't the case at all. You had a pretty good season.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I wasn't really familiar with the show itself, but when I first got in there, I pretty much got along with everybody. You know what I mean? So I didn't think I was going to be a target, but apparently the oldest house guest has become a target and they go out early, but I pretty much got along with everyone at the beginning. The beginning was the best time, because when it gets down to the end, things change and attitudes change and people's strategies change. And that's just part of the game though.
Absolutely.
Part of the game.
So let's go a bit back. Let's go back. So when did you kind of decide that you wanted to be on Big Brother? How did that kind of decision come to be? And why did you kind of decide to go on?
Okay, so this is a true story, Pete. I went down to meet my daughter in Boston, you know what I mean? So she was going to be a little late, so I went over to the Quincy Market, and they were having a casting call in a place called Ned Devine's, which is like a big bar in Quincy Market. So I went in there, and they just liked me, and I went from there. I actually had no idea of like the show or going on the show. When I came back home and told my daughters that, they told me to come back the next day, they were like, "No, come on, you're just saying that." I said, "No, I'm telling you." They told me to come back, and then they just kept going on and further and called me out to go to LA and things like that. And then next thing you know, I ended up on the show.
A lot of people, when I told a lot of people that I was having you on the show, first thing they said was, "Kevin, I love that guy, the guy from Boston. He was so funny." People like the comedy. Was that something you were hoping that resonated with the audience, that you can kind of provide that like laughter?
No, that's just the way I am. I had no idea. Now, listen, Pete, I'm not making it up. I had no idea. Honestly, I mean, I obviously know that there's cameras everywhere, but the 24/7 stuff, you tend to forget the cameras are on all the time, So no, I mean, I grew up in a 3-bedroom apartment. I had 5 brothers, and we lived in one back bedroom. So we would talk to each other. So I figured, why not just talk and tell stories? And I experienced them. What I told them was the truth. So I would just talk and tell them stories, and they were intrigued by them, and it kept them busy. And I guess it kept them from not coming after me and getting me out early. If I left early, who was going to tell stories, Pete?
Exactly.
No more story time.
The storyteller. Why do you think the show has hit stride with people over the years? I mean, we're at season 20. What do you think about it? Is it the competition aspect of it? Is it the bonds in the house? Is it the relationships? Is it the storytelling? From someone who was on Big Brother, what do you think is the most kind of successful part of the recipe for Big Brother success?
I think it's just, first of all, what I found out after coming off the show and now meeting people, and I was talking to a lady yesterday, is there are a lot of fans. I mean, there are a lot of fans of Big Brother, and they literally are super fans. It's not like you watch one season of Friends and then you don't watch it no more. They can't wait for the next season to start, and they just follow it, and it's just, I guess they like live their life through watching them and hoping, People, I mean, people want people to do good and people to do bad, and they pick favorites and they watch the competitions. And I guess it's just interesting to people, and they just enjoy it, And the different characters every year, it's new people.
Yeah.
So it's not coming. I mean, well, some years they bring back some of the old cast, but
like Paul.
Mostly it's new people. Yeah. Well, they bring a lot of different people back. Yeah.
I remember that was not like when I had the people from season 19, I told you, like Ramses, Margaleta, everyone brought up the whole Paul coming back. Like that was something that I didn't even ask or mention, and that was like brought up. That was like one of the biggest storylines of that season. That
was interesting. But I mean, I think Paul, when he first came in, I didn't know who he was. You could see my reaction. If you watched it, I stood in the back and I honestly, I told everyone, I thought like he was delivering pizza. I thought we were getting food. You know what I mean? So when he came in, and then when he was giving out the friendship bracelets, and me and him bonded and we became close. But I didn't really know him. I didn't watch the season before, so I didn't know Paul. You know what I mean? Everyone else knew who he was.
Mm-hmm. And talking to Josh, who you're friends with, the winner of season 19, he was kind of telling me that because we were talking about the whole thing and like, Cody picking Josh over Paul. And that was kind of like a big thing. Like, why did he do that? You know what I mean? And I think Paul kind of had a slick plan in mind, but I think a lot of people kind of didn't buy into it. They kind of knew that he was kind of in it for himself. Like, what do you think about the strategy that some of the people like Paul and Josh had throughout the show?
Well, I think I thought Paul was going to win. I went into the jury, the round table. I thought it would be a quick conversation and Paul was going to win. I didn't realize. I thought Paul made the best move because Josh had fought with most of the people in the house. Just not just how it was. So I thought they would vote for Paul, but apparently the jury didn't go for it. They got together and talked it over, and everyone found out it was all that Paul was on a whole different teams all throughout the season. So, they voted against him. I didn't understand it, but I thought the criteria was who played the best game, and I thought Paul did at the time.
No, absolutely. Take us through the first time you and your family watched the show with you for the first time. Like, what was that like? What was the reactions like? What were you thinking? What was your family thinking about?
What, like the season I was on?
Yeah, like the first episode where we see Kevin on Big Brother. What was kind of going through your mind, like on the TV? Because I'm sure you watched it at one point, like fresh when it was done, right?
No, I haven't watched none of it. Not one episode.
Actually?
But my kids, I'm not kidding you, I haven't. But I did go to Glenn. I went down to New York with Glenn. This guy was on season 18, a really nice guy.
Yep.
And he showed me the first, when you come in and introduce the introductions and things like that, I watched that with him. So I did watch it, but I didn't watch it with my family. But I don't know. There were super fans. I guess you'd surprise when you see somebody that you live with or your father on TV, especially with such a group of young kids,
No,
most
absolutely.
Most of them were so much younger,
So I want to know, this is interesting to me. Why did you not watch it? Was there a specific reason? Like you just...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not gonna watch it, man. I don't know.
Are you just a bit nervous to see if like some of your stories you'll be like, oh, why did I say that?
No, I don't know. You can't watch. No, I wouldn't watch the live feeds anyhow. But I wouldn't. I lived through it, so I know what happened each day, and I know what's going to go on. So, maybe when you get born, a nice winter storm or something, I'll put it on and watch it. You can watch it anytime.
Oh, absolutely. I want to know what was kind of the coolest thing about being in the house that maybe people are not aware of, like maybe some behind the scenes stuff. Was there something really cool and fun that you can kind of share with our listeners and our viewers?
My opinion was yeah. I turned 56 in the show. They had a cake for me. So my birthday was August 7th. So I was there and we had a party. But the cool thing was, getting to meet people from different parts of the country and younger kids and seeing what their background was like and talking and just the initial meeting of everybody and getting to know different people. And some of the comps, the elaborate comps were nice, and I didn't do good at them, but they were fun. And I thought just sitting up at night talking, we're having a good time at the beginning was fun.
Do you think that well, I'm sure the answer to this is yes, but do you think that the whole concept of bringing someone older in the house with 20-year-olds. Do you think that's a concept that they're going to continue to do? Like, do you think that was a successful run for Kevin Schlehuber?
I don't know. They had a guy this year. He was out first, Steve. You know what I mean? But he was only 40, and he wasn't. I mean, like 10 years older than some of them. But I don't know that concept because it looks to me like what my opinion is now. It's into the 20th season. So if you get kids who are 23 and 24 and 25, they've been basically watching it since season 1. You know what I mean? Like you have watched when American Idol first came on, whatever. Everyone would watch the first couple of seasons, and they'll get guests. So these kids who are on there now, they're not coming from not knowing the knowledge of the game. They've watched 20 seasons, so they all know they have a platform and an agenda, and they know exactly how to behave, and they realize the cameras are on and all that. So you're not fooling anyone no more. And I think it's easy to just put the oldest person out first, and then everyone gets to see where everyone else stands. You know what I mean? And how they feel about it, and if they stuck to the vote that they promised. And that's just my opinion. And so the older person would have to win over socially, or win a comp at the beginning.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, to get through.
I think what's interesting too is you see it. A lot of the cast members of Big Brother have an unbelievable following on social media because you mentioned, the fans and everything. Yeah. Was that something that you were aware of? Like, did you expect it to be like that? Like, it's crazy. You're over 60,000 followers on Twitter. It's like, I see the interactions. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I've never been on it before, honestly. I mean, I'm telling you the truth, Pete. I've never been on it. I didn't have it. But when I went on the show, my daughters had put it up for me, and the following it's unbelievable. And I think they're all great. I mean, most of it is positive with me. I don't have much negative. If it is negative, I'm not going to respond anyhow, and I'm not going to get into a debate on a phone while you're laying in bed. I mean, what purpose is that going to serve?
Absolutely. I asked like Josh Martinez because like he won the show and he came on my show. And it was like a week or two after. And I've never had a guest that smiled so much. Like you couldn't even. He was on, like you said before we taped. Like,
hey, he just won 500,000. You'd be smiling too, right?
He was just like, and because it's just nuts. You see it all, and you see everyone kind of like Instagram is insane as well. But were you kind of so you weren't even aware a little bit that like that was going to happen? Like I'm sure maybe the producers told you that maybe it was going to happen.
No, the other house guests would talk about it, and they would say, Kevin, when you get out, this is going to happen, and you're going to have a following of people following your Instagram and Twitter. But I didn't really know what they were, honestly. I was just learning. So when I got out, I was just learning to do it. At the beginning, I used to mess up and tweet the wrong words or heart the wrong things, and I would mess things up. But
let's step away from Big Brother. Let's talk about you personally. We understand you're from Boston. Sure. Talk a little bit about like where specifically in Boston you grew up. I believe it was like right in the heart of Boston where you grew up. And tell us a little bit of, like about yourself away from the Big Brother, like some fun facts about yourself that people maybe didn't know from.
No, I think they all know everything now after this Instagram and Twitter. But no, I grew up right in the city. Yeah, I grew up in a section of Boston called Mission Hill, which is Boston is divided into. I mean, it's just like Philly or other big cities. They're all divided into different areas. South Boston, then you got the North End and East Boston and Charlestown. And I grew up in Mission Hill, which is a part of Roxbury. It's near the hospitals. It's near Northeastern and other schools. And I grew up with a bunch of brothers and 2 sisters. We lived in a 3-bedroom apartment, and my grandmother lived with us. And in those days, you knew everyone in the neighborhood, because you could name everyone on all the streets you lived on. There's all 3-decker apartments, but they were all families. Everything's changed now because the college kids moved in, and the expensive, the prices to rent and to live there is so expensive. And it was like, but it was right in the city, literally a half mile from Fenway Park. It was right near the hospitals in Northeastern and a few other things. It's right in the center.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable city. And Fenway Park, man, that's unbelievable.
I haven't got there this year. Their Red Sox are on a fire too. I don't want to bring it up, but they're on fire. They're hot.
Mookie Betts, man.
Yeah, I know, all of them. I don't know if they won last night, but they're doing pretty good.
I every time you do something, whether it's work related, whether it's in your case, going on one of the biggest reality television shows in the world, and there's always going to be learning experiences.
Yes.
There's going to be learning experiences no matter where you go. What have been some of the biggest learning experiences and takeaways from being on Big Brother, Kevin?
Wow, some of the learning experience, that everything you say and everything you hot and everything you dislike or like, it gets critiqued, and you can't make everybody happy. You just can't. So what happens is you can have people who just don't like and whatever you do, and people like what you do, and the amount of following they have is surprising to me. And I was gone for like 100 days. I didn't get to talk to nobody or anything, and I was one of the only members who had actual family, had children. Jason had a child, but he was only one, and Cody had a child. But I had like children that were older than most of the house guests. You know what I mean?
What were some of the things you did? What were some of the things you did to kind of try to block that out? Because that's going to be hard being away from family for such a long time.
Well, you know what would happen? I would go in and ask what's going on, and they would say no news is good news, which is basically just an answer that they have no answer, meaning nothing bad's going on, nothing good's going on. So I stopped asking after a couple of weeks, and that's about it. You missed them. So what would I do? I would go in, and there's not much you really can do. You know what I mean? You can only sit in your room, you only get the yard 1.5 days a week. Mm-hmm. So you didn't get to go on the yard that often. So.
No, absolutely. Well, yeah. Kevin, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me on Pop Turner.
You're welcome, Pete. And I hope everything's going good out there. I hope you have a good summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody. And thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, for sure. Where can people follow you on social media? What's the handle?
It's pretty easy. I'm not no genius. It's BB19 Kevin on Instagram and BB19 Kevin on Twitter.
Awesome.
So it's pretty easy.
Absolutely.
Listen, Pete, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Well, this has been Popternative. You can catch previous episodes of Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. Other Big Brother 19 episodes can be seen there with Josh Martinez and Ramsey Soto. iTunes, Spotify for the audio onlys. Until next time, this is Kevin Schlehuber and Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.